Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're just going to be doing a really quick discussion about the 7 Deadly Sins, chapter 341. Before I get into it, there will be a poll in the top right hand corner of the screen where you guys get to rate the chapter 5 stars, 1 to 1 star, anything in between. Again, it's just a really cool way for me to see what you guys think of the chapter, and a really cool way for you guys to see what each other think of the chapter as well. But getting into what you guys thought of chapter 340, 20% of you thought it was 5 stars, 40% of you thought it was 4 stars, and 40% of you thought it was 3 stars. So once again, it's not as high as it used to be, but it's definitely better than a couple chapters ago. So I guess with Kath and learning more about Chaos, people are starting to like the chapters a little bit more again. Now getting into this actual chapter, I will say that Kath's design is very pleasing to the eye, and it just looks so much better than the original design a couple chapters ago. This one definitely looks more evil and more like large cat look. I don't know, it just like I just really like the way it looks, and like the 3 tails and the weird like devil's tongue and this like size of him is just so much better than before. Now getting into the discussion that the 7 Deadly Sins had with Gowther, I think it was really important to kind of touch on this topic because they all kind of did use each other, so how is Merlin any different? Personally, I don't agree with what Merlin did, and I'll get into the reasons why in a little bit later in this video. But he brought up some good points about like all power is bad, it just depends on how you use it. Any of their power could be used for evil, but they choose to use it for good. Meliodas is a very good example of that. He was extremely evil and now he's good and he uses it to protect people. So why is Merlin and Arthur any different? And I think because he is a doll, he was able to bring that kind of insight. Like he mentioned, he's not a human or any other species, so he's able to have a more rounded look at the world than others, and he has no prejudice. So that's kind of interesting that the author touched on that, because I really do like that aspect of Gowther. And then we get that plot twist with Meliodas being like, well, still, I can't let Chaos get away. Like, I need Merlin to take full responsibility for what she did, and we think that there's going to be this huge fight between all of them. At least that's what I was kind of thinking. And then we cut to Merlin fighting Kath, and can I just say that Kath's fighting faces are like really disturbing in a good way. Like the art that went into making them is just like really great, and I think these are the best panels we've had in a while. I'm still not happy that Kath's back, per se. I'm really getting tired of the whole, like, oh, we fought this character, but now he's back, kind of cliche thing that's happening in the 7 Deadly Sins. But other than that, I really do like seeing the way Kath is fighting, and Merlin's fight with Kath was a lot more than just exterminate Ray. It was actually looking like a pretty good fight. But then, of course, Arthur jumps in, and we see, like, a pretty cool cutting move from him, and some other attacks, but then the most important part of the chapter comes into fruition, where Kath informs Arthur about Camelot's destruction, and he kind of starts to manipulate the situation so that Arthur will, one, fall off balance in a way, like a mental way, so he could have the drop on him, in which he does end up doing. But also, I'm wondering if it's an attempt to awaken the dark side of Chaos, because in the last chapter we saw him turn good, you can say, and the dark leave his sword, which means that he was choosing to be a good king of chaos. But in this sense, I'm not so sure, because once Kath kept going, we see Arthur and him get, like, he just gets quite shaken up, and like it looks like in the bottom frame that like it's like a vibrating sensation, or like a, in anime there's like this weird like pulsation effect that happens like in anime specifically, so I'm wondering if that's being translated here, and that's usually when like an awakening's happening, like a good one or a bad one. And I'm assuming that because Kath knocked him out here in the next panel, that wasn't Arthur getting knocked out. I really think that that's him swaying more towards darkness. We just don't get to see it in this panel because Kath eventually knocks him out. But the 7 Deadly Sins do end up helping Merlin in her fight against Kath, but I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, because I think once Arthur wakes up and sees the 7 Deadly Sins after what he just heard about them doing, he's gonna definitely turn more towards the dark side, I think. And I just don't think it's a good idea for them to be there. I think Merlin should have been the one to kind of explain it to him, like on their own, but they didn't really get that time alone together because Kath did end up showing up again. So I think this is just a mess and it's all leading towards Arthur going bad. And I don't think Merlin necessarily understood what she was doing by releasing Arthur, because how could she predict the end of Camelot and how he would react to that? But still, I think it was kind of how what's a good word for this? Um, Childish. I definitely think childish, and because she's constantly portrayed as a child, I think that that's almost the point that the author's trying to make. That it was a childish move to reawaken something that you can't control and you can't necessarily predict its movements. So, unfortunately, I really do think Arthur's going to be heading towards the dark side. But at the end, we have this really cute, almost too cute and love like panel where the seven deadly sins are going to protect Merlin and Arthur. I don't know. This has always been a thing in the seven deadly sins, more so now than before. And I don't know. I'm kind of like more into the fighting right now, and this was like a really fight heavy chapter, and at the end we have like this bubbly little panel where it's like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna protect you because we love you and we're a team, remember? Even though 2 chapters ago she's like, I don't want to see you guys again, bye, and like snaps them away. So it's just kind of like a little bit of whiplash and a little bit of stop teasing fights and then ending the chapter on a bubbly note. I don't know, I guess I'm just nitpicking now. It could be because I'm tired and it's late. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this chapter. Don't forget to participate in the poll in the top right hand corner. If I seemed a little off in this video, it's because it's pretty late and I'm really busy. I got a lot of stuff to do. So pray for me in this week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!